Have you ever reached into your change jar and thought, this is just a penny? What if I told you one of those pennies, specifically, the 2009 Lincoln penny with no mint mark, could make you a millionaire overnight? Yes. A single penny. Not gold. Not silver. Just a copper-coated coin quietly sitting in pockets and drawers across America. Now hold on. Before you toss that penny back in the pile or let your grandkid use it for a school project, you need to hear this. Because right now, one of these coins has a current market value of up to $999,000. That's nearly $1 million for a coin you probably ignored your whole life. That I know what you're thinking, seriously? A 2009 penny? I get it. It sounds crazy. But stick with me, because what you're about to discover might completely change the way you look at pocket change forever. Let's dive into the story behind this seemingly ordinary coin, and why it's commanding such extraordinary prices today. Back in 2009, the United States Mint released a special series of Lincoln cents to commemorate the bicentennial of Abraham Lincoln's birth. Four unique reverse designs were minted, each reflecting a key chapter in Lincoln's life, from his log cabin beginnings to his presidency. Now here's where things get interesting. Among these coins, a rare version of the formative years reverse, specifically without a mint mark, has quietly become one of the most sought-after pennies in the entire modern U.S. coin catalog. Why? Because of a perfect storm of scarcity, condition, and collector obsession. And that's not all. Some versions of this no-mint mark penny display ultrafine details, flawless strikes, and pristine surfaces, grading out as MS68 or higher. When such a coin appears at auction, well, that's when collectors go absolutely wild. In fact, one of these pennies, authenticated and slabbed by a leading grading company, recently fetched a staggering $999,500 in a private collector-to-collector deal. Let that sink in for a second. A 1-cent coin, almost $1 million, and you might be thinking, that's gotta be a one-time fluke, right? Well, here's the twist. Multiple verified coins from that year, with the same characteristics, are now hitting the high 5- and low 6-figure range. And yes, they're still being found in coin rolls, change jars, and even old drawers in mom's kitchen. Quick question, when was the last time you actually looked at your pennies? Because the difference between a regular 2009 penny and a 6-figure one can come down to the tiniest details. The position of Lincoln's hands. The clarity of the tools by his feet. Even microscopic die errors invisible to the naked eye. It's like finding a needle in a haystack, but that needle is made of gold. Now, here's a funny thought. Imagine you tossed one of these pennies to a street musician last year and they just dropped it in their guitar case. Somewhere out there, someone might have tipped their way out of poverty without even knowing it. Let me ask you something personal. What would it mean for you, right now, to discover a coin in your home worth nearly $1 million? Would you pay off your mortgage? Retire early? Help your kids live debt-free? Maybe finally take that dream trip across the country or start a business you've been putting off for years? Because here's the uncomfortable truth. Most people never check. Most people assume all pennies are worthless. And most people throw away the very opportunity they've been praying for their whole life, without even realizing it. This is why you can't afford to ignore what's in your own hands. Right now, collectors, dealers, and investors are hunting down these rare 2009 pennies with laser focus. The market is heating up. Values are climbing. And opportunities like this don't last forever. But here's the cliffhanger. There's one specific feature, a tiny detail on this 2009 penny with no mint mark, that separates the valuable ones from the rest. And in the next video, I'm going to break it down for you so you know exactly what to look for. Because if you're holding the right one, you could be holding your future. So, go check your drawers. Look through your jars. Dig up those old coin folders from the attic. You might be just one penny away from changing your life forever. Stay tuned. Stay alert. And stay wealthy. We're talking about a humble-looking coin that's making headlines in the numismatic world, the 1962 Lincoln penny with a tiny D mint mark. It was just another cent in your change jar, until it wasn't. Because one rare example has been valued at an astonishing $995,000, yes, you heard that right. 1 penny. Nearly $1 million. Now imagine unknowingly spending that coin on a cup of coffee. Stick with me, because in this video, we'll break down exactly why this coin is so valuable, how to spot the rare version you might have right now, and how you can turn old change into life-changing money. And hey, before we dive deep, answer me this. When was the last time you checked your penny jar? Let's rewind to 1962. John F. Kennedy was president. Gas was just 28 cents a gallon. And the Denver Mint was quietly striking over 1.7 billion Lincoln pennies. Most of them were just that, ordinary, everyday coins. But in that massive production run, something happened. A few of those 1962 pennies were struck under abnormal conditions. Some had rare double die errors. Others were made with improper metal mixtures or misaligned dies. These tiny, often invisible mistakes turned a regular penny into a collector's dream. Now here's the kicker, these rare versions aren't just sitting in museum glass. They're hiding in drawers, old jars, and forgotten boxes across America. Let that sink in. One such coin recently sold for $995,000 in a private auction due to its pristine condition, flawless strike, and unique double die features. Graded by experts and verified by professionals, it instantly became one of the most valuable Lincoln cents ever recorded. Let's pause for a moment. What would you do with nearly $1 million from one coin? A beach house? Debt-free living? Finally starting that business you've been putting off? But here's the reality. Every month that passes, more of these valuable coins are being lost to circulation or spent unknowingly. And as time goes on, finding one becomes even rarer, and more profitable. Now you might be thinking, how do I know if I've got the real deal? Let's break it down. First, look for the D mint mark. It will be just beneath the year 1962. No, D means it was minted in Philadelphia and doesn't hold the same premium. But the mint mark is just the beginning. Second, examine the details. Look for signs of doubling in the date or lettering. Pay attention to the Lincoln bust. An unusual shine or texture might indicate an error strike. Third, condition is king. Even a valuable coin can lose thousands in value if it's heavily worn or scratched. Collectors are willing to pay top dollar only for high-grade coins, especially those graded MS65 and above by PCGS or NGC. Not sure how to grade a coin? We'll talk about that in a moment, but here's a hint: never clean your coin. Ever. You could destroy thousands of dollars of value in seconds. You still with me? Because now comes the part that gets people excited and terrified. Imagine discovering that you own this penny, a 1962 D with the right error, in pristine condition. You send it off for grading, wait a few anxious weeks, and then the envelope arrives. You open it, and boom. MS67. Verified. Authenticated. Within days, you get offers. 5,000. 10,000. 50. Then, someone from California offers you 6 figures to take it off your hands. This isn't fantasy. This is happening right now, and yet, millions of Americans are tossing these coins into vending machines, coin counters, or donation boxes. So here's the urgent truth: you might be holding a 1962 D Lincoln penny that could change your life, and not even know it. But every day you wait, someone else is cashing in. Someone else is selling the coin you wish you had checked. Let me ask you something: are you going to be the one who finds it, or the one who says, I had that coin once, but I never looked? Because this story doesn't have to end with someone else. It can end with you. Start by checking your old penny jars. Search through inherited coin collections. Look at that dusty box in your attic. Pay attention to every 1962 penny you come across, and when you find one, because someone watching this will, get it graded by a reputable service. Then contact certified dealers or auction houses. Do not try to sell it casually online. These coins require professional handling to get their true value. Now here's your cliffhanger. In our next video, we're going to uncover another Lincoln penny even rarer than the 1962 D. A coin that went unnoticed for over 50 years before it shocked the numismatic world. But for now, remember this: the path to wealth isn't always paved with gold, sometimes, it starts with copper. If this video opened your eyes to the power of rare pennies, don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell so you never miss a life-changing opportunity like this again. Share this with someone who's been sitting on an old coin collection. You never know who might be sitting on a fortune, and if you've already found a valuable coin, tell us in the comments. Your story might just inspire someone else to check their change, because sometimes, the difference between ordinary and extraordinary, is knowing what to look for. Yes, you heard that right. There's a simple copper penny, dated 1964 with a small D mint mark, that's recently shocked the coin collecting world. Why? Because one of these almost made it to a $1 million auction. So, before you toss your change jar or cash in those old rolls from the attic, keep watching, because this 1-cent coin could be your $1 million mistake, or your $1 million miracle. Let me ask you something, when was the last time you checked your old coins? Not just glanced at them. I mean really checked, because one viewer did. And what they discovered wasn't just a lucky penny, it was life-changing wealth. A 1964 Lincoln penny that ended up valued at a jaw-dropping $990,000. Now you're probably wondering, how can an ordinary penny be worth nearly $1 million, and more importantly, do you have one? Let's dive deep and uncover the truth behind this rare coin that's turning everyday people into millionaires. Let's start with the basics. The 1964 Lincoln penny was minted in Denver and is made of 95% copper. Over 3.7 billion were produced. So how does such a common coin suddenly become a holy grail? Here's where things get interesting. Some of these 1964 pennies weren't so ordinary after all. A tiny number of them were struck using experimental dies or with incredibly rare minting errors, things like double dies, misaligned strikes, and even coins pressed on the wrong metal planchets. These errors were not meant to escape the mint. But a few did. And now, collectors are willing to pay the price of a luxury home to get one. Imagine that. A penny becoming more valuable than a Ferrari. You might think, come on, who's going to pay that much for a coin? Well, ask the anonymous collector who placed a high six-figure bid at auction. Or the numismatist who privately purchased one for just under $1 million, and here's the kicker, most of these valuable pennies are found not in glass display cases, but in dusty drawers, forgotten boxes, and old coffee cans passed down through generations. That means yours could be next. Still with me? Good. Because what I'm about to share next could be the difference between you cashing in, or cashing out too early. Let's talk condition. Coin grading is where the real money lies. A regular 1964 penny in worn condition might get you a couple of cents. But a rare mint error in mint state condition, graded MS 67 or higher, can push that value up exponentially, and that's where the $990,000 story comes in. This specific coin was graded, authenticated, and documented with a rare doubling error. The details on Lincoln's face, the letters, and the date were slightly misaligned from a double die strike. What might look like a smudge to you, is a goldmine to a collector. Let me pause here and ask, how many of you are digging through your old boxes right now? If not, maybe it's time to start, because the next part is even more surprising. You see, the market for rare coins is heating up fast. More Americans are looking to invest in tangible assets. Inflation is rising. Traditional investments feel shaky. But coins? They're becoming the new hidden treasure, especially coins with stories. Coins like the 1964 Lincoln penny, and here's where the urgency comes in. Auction houses, private collectors, even hedge fund managers are all eyeing the rare coin space. The competition is growing. And once these coins are snatched up, they're gone, off the market. Possibly forever. Now, you might be sitting on a coin worth thousands, or hundreds of thousands, and not even know it. So what can you do? First, stop assuming your old pennies are worthless. Second, get your coins appraised. Find a certified grading service or professional coin dealer. Avoid pawn shops that offer pennies on the dollar, literally. Third, educate yourself. Watch videos like this. Join coin forums. Follow auction results. The more you know, the less you'll miss, because here's the real takeaway: the difference between a penny that's cashed in at the grocery store and a penny that changes your life, might just be your awareness. and just when you think this story couldn't get crazier, here's the final twist: there are rumors, yes, serious rumors, of a second 1964 penny with a double strike and off-metal error still floating out there. Untouched. Unfound. Could it be yours? Could it be sitting right now in your basement, in your glove box, or in an old piggy bank? This is your moment. This is the wake-up call, because while others are sleeping on small change, you could be waking up to generational wealth. Your story, your legacy, might start with a single cent. So, what are you waiting for? Go find that penny. Get it graded. And maybe, just maybe, I'll be telling your story next. Not just $100, not even $10,000, that we're talking up to $984,000, for a single penny. Yes, that's real. Today, we're diving deep into the mysterious world of the 1967 Lincoln penny with no mint mark, a coin that could be sitting in your house right now, quietly waiting to make you wealthy. But here's the thing, most people miss it. They throw it into a coin machine, spend it without a second thought, and unknowingly give away a fortune. And you're about to find out what makes this coin so rare, so valuable, and why collectors are willing to pay nearly $1 million for it. But don't blink, because one detail could make or break your penny's value. Stay with me until the end. I'll reveal how to identify the jackpot version of this penny, and where you can sell it for top dollar. Let's begin. A year of major change in America: the Vietnam War, the Civil Rights Movement, the Summer of Love, and tucked quietly into everyday life, the Lincoln Memorial penny, freshly minted, carrying secrets no one could have guessed. This penny was made without a mint mark. Now normally, that wouldn't matter. Most pennies minted in Philadelphia came without one dot. But here's the twist: not all 1967 pennies were created equal. Due to a rare combination of minting errors, misaligned dies, and off-metal strikes, some of these pennies were born different, and today, they're commanding prices that can make anyone's jaw drop. One of them recently sold at auction for $984,000. Let that sink in. That's more than the average cost of a home in Los Angeles, more than 4 years at Harvard, with room and board, all from a penny. Feeling that sudden urge to check your pocket change? You're not alone. Just imagine the cashier's face at the gas station when you say, "Actually, I'll keep that penny, thanks. It might be worth more than your entire store." Alright, back to business. Let's break it down. To the untrained eye, the 1967 Lincoln penny might seem ordinary: copper, no mint mark, worn over time, but true value hides in the details. Here's what makes some of these coins extremely valuable. 1. Minting errors. Some 1967 pennies were struck on dime planchets. That means they were printed on the wrong metal, resulting in lighter weight and a silvery appearance. Others have dramatic off-center strikes, double dies, or extremely rare deep cameo finishes from early die states. 2. High-grade condition. If your 1967 penny has minimal wear and retains strong original luster, you might be in luck. A grade of MS 67 or higher can send its value soaring. There's a known example of a 1967 penny graded MS 67 plus red, sold for nearly $1 million. 3. Red coloration. Collectors love rich, red-toned copper. If your penny still gleams, almost like it just left the mint, that color could be worth thousands on its own. But here's the warning: if your penny has discoloration, corrosion, or has been cleaned, that could kill the value instantly. So now you're probably wondering, okay, I might have this penny, but how do I know for sure? And more importantly, where do I sell it? Because let's be real, it's not every day you find yourself holding a potential fortune in your fingers. Hold tight. That's coming next. Let's talk about verification. First, grab a magnifying glass or coin loupe, preferably 10x magnification. Look at Lincoln's date, 1967. No mint mark underneath? Good. Now inspect the coin's edges. Are they sharp and even? Does the color look like a rich, uniform red, not brown or dark? Flip it over. Look at the Lincoln Memorial. Are the lines sharp? Any doubling in the letters? If you're seeing a high level of detail, minimal wear, and that deep copper shine, it's time to take the next step. Send it to a professional grading service. PCGS or NGC are your best bets. A verified grade is your ticket to big money auctions. Once graded, you can list it through trusted auction houses like Heritage Auctions or Stack's Bowers, where serious collectors with deep pockets are ready to bid. now here's where it gets urgent, rare coins are being scooped up at record speed, the market is hot. The demand is high, and the truth is, the longer you wait, the more the spotlight shifts to the next big discovery. Imagine your future self finding this video a year from now, only to realize you had the $1,000,000 penny, and you spent it on gum. Painful, right? Don't be that person. That we started with a simple question: can a penny make you rich? The answer, you now know, is yes, but only if you recognize it. Only if you act. There are fortunes sitting quietly in old drawers, dusty jars, forgotten wallets. People just like you, who took a second look, have changed their lives forever, and that could be you. Today, so here's what to do next: check your 1967 pennies, inspect every detail, send the best ones in for grading, and connect with serious buyers who are ready to pay, because the path to a wealthy lifestyle might just start with the most overlooked coin in America. And if you want to learn about more rare coins that could make you a fortune, subscribe now and stay updated. The next $1,000,000 penny might already be in your hands. Stay sharp, stay curious, and never underestimate the power of a penny. That's not a dream. That's the real story of the 1969 Lincoln penny. A single coin, once forgotten in a pocket, now commanding $980,000 in today's market. Yes, you heard that right. Almost $1,000,000 for a coin that was minted over 50 years ago. Now let me ask you this: do you know what's hiding in your coin jar, drawer, or attic right now? Because the person who found this penny didn't either, until it changed their life forever. Here's the catch: millions of people are unknowingly throwing away fortunes by selling rare coins too early or not knowing what they truly have. What if you're one of them? Stay with me, because by the end of this video, you'll know exactly what to look for, how to spot a 1969 Lincoln penny worth nearly $1 million, and what to avoid before you make the biggest mistake of your life. You'll never look at a penny the same way again. Let's go back in time. The year is 1969, America lands on the moon, Woodstock changes music history, and somewhere in Denver, a batch of Lincoln pennies rolls out of the U.S. Mint. Most were ordinary, but a tiny few had a secret. These rare 1969 Lincoln pennies carry a minting anomaly. They were struck with double dies, meaning the design was imprinted twice, creating a shadow-like effect especially noticeable on the words Liberty and In God We Trust. Now, here's where it gets exciting. In perfect condition, one of these double die coins recently sold for $980,000. And no, that's not a typo. That's 980,000. But don't rush to list your pennies on eBay just yet. Here's the twist: there are fakes. Lots of them. Crooks have flooded the market with counterfeits, preying on people who get excited and desperate. It's not enough to just have a 1969 penny. You need to know how to verify it, grade it, and sell it smartly. Think you can just walk into a pawn shop and cash in? Think again. Here's a question to reset your attention: if a coin is worth $980,000, would you really trust someone offering you $100 for it? Exactly, the difference between retirement level money and being scammed. Out of it lies in knowledge. So, how do you tell if your 1969 penny is the one? Let me walk you through that next, and don't blink, because the details are so small, they're literally microscopic. Now, listen carefully. To identify a 1969 Lincoln penny that could be worth $980,000, here's what you need to look for: doubling on the obverse side. Examine the words Liberty and In God We Trust. The letters should appear slightly shadowed or duplicated, almost like a ghost image. Strong D mint mark. The Denver mint mark must be clear and precisely struck. If it's blurry or looks tampered with, walk away. It's likely a fake. High grade condition. These pennies need to be in mint state condition. That means no major scratches, dents, or discoloration. Even a tiny nick can cost you hundreds of thousands in value. Certified by PCGS or NGC. Do not sell until your coin is graded by a trusted authority. Without certification, even legitimate buyers won't touch it. Now here's the kicker: even if your coin doesn't hit $980,000, a verified 1969 double die penny in average circulated condition can still fetch $10,000 to $30,000. And that's not just good money, that's life-changing money for some. You could clear debts, help your kids, fund your retirement, all from a coin you might already owe. So I'll leave you with this: right now, someone in America is about to toss a 1969 D penny into a Coinstar machine that they'll get 1 cent, but you just learned how to turn that same penny into almost $1 million. But wait, before you run to check your coin stash, there's one more thing that could make or break your fortune. In the next video, I'll reveal the single biggest mistake people make when selling rare coins, and how it cost one man over $700,000. Don't miss it. Before you rush to check your coin jar, let me walk you through a true story of hidden value, missed opportunity, and the staggering truth about one of the most overlooked coins in American history, the 1981 Lincoln penny with no mint mark. Now here's the catch: not every 1981 penny is valuable. But some versions without a mint mark are not just rare, they're extremely rare. So rare, in fact, that one has been listed with a current market value of $974,000. That's right, $974K for a single penny. Grab a seat. This story could change the way you look at every coin you've ever tossed into a drawer. But what makes this little copper coin from 1981 so special? And why are collectors scrambling to get their hands on it before it's too late? Let's rewind for a moment. The year is 1981. Ronald Reagan is taking office. MTV is airing its first music video. And the Lincoln penny, one of the most minted coins in the country, seems like just another copper disc in circulation. Business as usual, right? Well, not quite. Here's where the story gets interesting. In 1981, the U.S. Mint produced Lincoln pennies at several facilities: Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco. But only one of them, Philadelphia, didn't include a mint mark on its coins. That means if you see a 1981 penny with no letter below Lincoln's shoulder, it likely came from Philadelphia. But wait, here comes the twist: during that year, a very small batch of these Philadelphia 1981 pennies were struck with a rare die error. A nearly invisible mistake, unnoticed by the average person. But for trained collectors, this was a goldmine. Some of these errors involve a sharply doubled die, while others feature flawless, crisp details, often due to early die states used briefly before the mint changed equipment or corrected flaws. Why does that matter? Because these tiny, almost invisible differences are exactly what elite collectors look for. And when demand meets extreme rarity, prices explode. Think of it like this: imagine finding a misprinted baseball card or a vintage comic book with a cover flaw. At first glance, it's a mistake. But to collectors, it's treasure. By the way, when I first heard a penny could be worth nearly $1 million, I checked every drawer in the house, even the one with expired soy sauce packets. Spoiler, no luck. Yet, now let's talk numbers. A few of these rare no-mint mark 1981 pennies have been spotted in auctions and private sales. One particular coin, certified in near-perfect condition with pristine features, was estimated to be worth $974,000 due to its rarity and demand. Let that sink in for a second. A coin once worth 1 cent is now approaching $1 million in value. Why so much? Because of three things collectors obsess over: rarity, condition, and provenance. If a coin has all three, it becomes a status symbol, not just a collectible. And here's the part that should make your heart race: you might already own one. Yes, you. Watching this video from your couch, sipping coffee, wondering if that shoebox full of coins in the attic might finally pay off. But how do you know if your 1981 penny is worth a life-changing sum, or just a copper relic of the past? The answer isn't as simple as flipping it over and checking the back. Stay with me. In just a moment, I'll show you exactly what to look for, and more importantly, how to avoid being scammed by buyers who know what you don't. Here's your blueprint. First, check for the no mint mark. That's your starting point. Next, examine the coin's condition. Coins that have never been in circulation, known as mint state coins, can fetch astronomical prices. Look for sharp edges, no wear on Lincoln's cheek and jawline, and no visible scratches or fingerprints. Then, inspect the details. Subtle doubling of letters, an unusually strong strike, or misaligned features could signal a rare variant. If you think your penny has potential, do not clean it. This is where most people go wrong. Cleaning reduces value drastically. Instead, get it professionally graded by a reputable agency like PCGS or NGC. And here's the most important part: if you feel overwhelmed, that's normal. But don't let that fear stop you. Every day, ordinary people discover extraordinary value in what they once overlooked. Remember, rare pennies don't shout. They whisper, and only those who are listening will ever hear them. Also, pro tip, if someone offers you $5 for your rare coin at a flea market, just smile, nod, and run the other way. Right now, collectors are out there hunting, paying record-setting prices for the exact coin that might be sitting quietly in your drawer. But markets shift. Demand rises, then falls. And those who hesitate often watch their fortunes disappear with it. So check your coins. Get them evaluated. And if you find something special, don't wait. This could be your chance to turn an ordinary penny into an extraordinary future. Not just for yourself, but for your family, your legacy, your lifestyle, because sometimes, the path to wealth isn't in a new job or a lottery ticket. Sometimes, it's hiding in plain sight, right in your pocket. Well, what if I told you that one 1985 Lincoln penny with a tiny D mint mark, the kind you probably ignored in your drawer, is now valued at over $972,000, yes, nearly $1 million, for a penny? Pause for a moment. Imagine this: you're cleaning out an old jar of coins, sipping your morning coffee, when you come across a copper coin from 1985. You blink, shrug, and almost toss it back in. But instead, you hold on to it. Months later, that single penny changes your life. Sounds crazy? Stick around, because today I'll show you how a forgotten penny could be your ticket to a wealthy lifestyle, and what makes this particular coin so astonishingly valuable. Let's begin this story not just with facts, but with possibilities. Possibilities that could turn your pocket change into generational wealth. So, what makes the 1985 D penny so special? First, let's talk about what it is. The D stands for Denver, where this penny was minted. Over 5 billion of these were made. Yes, billion. Which begs the question, how can something so common be so valuable? Here's where things take a dramatic turn. A very small number of these 1985 D pennies were struck with a rare minting error, a misalignment in the die that caused a double die obverse. That means Lincoln's profile or the date appears doubled ever so slightly. Most people never even notice it. But collectors? They go wild for it, and that's not all. Some of these rare specimens were also struck on bronze planchets, leftover blanks from earlier years. This wasn't supposed to happen. These coins were meant to be minted on zinc-coated steel with a thin copper layer. Bronze coins weigh slightly more, a detail only an expert or a lucky enthusiast would ever catch. Here's the kicker: one of these extremely rare 1985 D Lincoln pennies recently sold at auction for $972,000. You heard that right. Now let's pause. Can you imagine the fear of accidentally spending that penny at a gas station? That's the kind of mistake you only make once. That's also why you need to understand the difference between ordinary and extraordinary, and how to recognize it. Wait a second, how many of you just ran to your coin jar? Don't worry, we'll wait. Just kidding. But seriously, go look after this video. Now, how can you tell if your 1985 D penny is worth big money? Start with the weight. A genuine bronze error will weigh around 3.11 grams instead of the standard 2.5. A small digital scale can save you from losing a fortune. Next, examine the date and lettering. Look for doubling, especially around the word Liberty and the numbers in 1985. If you're unsure, send it to a professional grading service like PCGS or NGC. But here's a little secret: some of these rare coins are still uncertified in private collections, flea markets, or tucked away in family drawers. It's like hunting for buried treasure in your own home, and just when you think it couldn't get more unbelievable, there's one more twist. Some coin dealers believe there are still undiscovered 1985 D bronze double dies out there. The reason? Not all were properly recorded or catalogued when they slipped through the cracks. Now ask yourself, is one of those in your home right now? This is where the urgency kicks in. Every day, coins are being cleaned, damaged, or worse, spent. You might be holding on to a life-changing coin and not even realize it, and here's what makes this even more powerful: the market for rare pennies is booming. As inflation rises, more people are turning to collectibles like coins as a hedge. That means values are climbing fast. The longer you wait, the more opportunities could slip away. In a moment, I'll reveal the biggest mistake people make when they discover they own a valuable coin, a mistake that could cost them thousands. But first, let's recap the markers of the $972,000 penny laughing face. Mint mark from Denver 1985 date bronze planchet, weighing around 3.11 grams, doubling in the date or letters, no signs of damage, cleaning, or wear. If your penny ticks even two of these boxes, you must get it evaluated. Now, the mistake: too many people clean the coin, thinking they're helping. But collectors want original patina, not polish. Cleaning can reduce the value from hundreds of thousands to just cents. It's heartbreaking, but avoidable. Don't wait. Start looking. Dig through old jars, check inherited collections, visit estate sales. The treasure is not always buried, sometimes it's sitting right in front of you. And remember, this isn't just about coins. It's about financial freedom. It's about turning something ordinary into a legacy. A future where you're not just surviving, you're thriving. Final cliffhanger: and if you think this 1985 D penny was rare, wait until you hear about a 1992 penny that looks completely normal but is worth more than a Lamborghini. That story is coming up in our next video, and trust me, you won't want to miss it. Yes. You heard that right. A simple 1987 Lincoln penny with no mint mark, a coin most people overlook every single day, was recently appraised at an astonishing $969,000. This isn't just another coin collecting story. This is the moment where history, rarity, and fate collide. And if you're a penny owner, especially one with a drawer full of old coins, this might just be your golden opportunity. Before you toss out your change or forget that old jar of pennies sitting in the attic, stay with me. Because by the end of this video, you'll know exactly what to look for, why it's worth so much, and how to cash in, if you're lucky enough to have one of these gems. And if you're thinking, come on, a penny worth nearly $1 million. Well, prepare to be stunned. Let's uncover the mystery behind the 1987 no mint mark penny. To understand the value of this coin, we need to take a quick journey back to 1987, a year when Ronald Reagan was in the White House, gas was under $1, and the Lincoln penny was quietly rolling off the presses. The United States Mint produced over 4.6 billion pennies that year, most from the Philadelphia Mint, which, at the time, did not include a mint mark. That's important, because the vast majority of these coins are worth face value, 1 cent, and nothing more. So why is one of them potentially worth almost $1 million? It all comes down to rarity and error. Somewhere during the minting process, a defect occurred. Not a scratch or a dent, but a very specific, almost invisible error that only trained eyes, or very lucky ones, can spot. This penny shows an ultra-rare double die error, and it struck on a copper planchet that wasn't meant to be used in 1987. By this time, pennies were supposed to be made mostly of zinc. But this rogue coin was created using a leftover copper planchet from earlier years, which is incredibly unusual. Imagine baking cookies and finding one made from a totally different batch of dough. Same process, same kitchen, but that one cookie is an accidental treasure. Coin experts believe that less than 10 of these 1987 copper pennies with a double die error and no mint mark exist today. One of them sold at a private auction for, yes, you guessed it, $969,000. Let that sink in. Now ask yourself this: do you have a 1987 penny hiding in your home? Here's a quick tip to tell if you might. First, check the weight. A regular 1987 zinc penny weighs 2.5 grams. But this copper error coin, 3.1 grams. If your 1987 penny weighs over 3 grams, you might be holding a fortune. Oh, and one more thing, don't clean it. Ever. Collectors want originality, not shine. Now, before you go running to the nearest coin dealer, hold on, because in the next few minutes, I'll show you the 3 key visual markers to check that could make your coin a once-in-a-lifetime payday. Let's pause for a second. Quick question: when was the last time you checked the back of a penny? Not in your wallet. I mean, really looked. If you're like most people, the answer is, probably never. But hey, if people can find $1 million paintings in yard sales, who's to say your coin jar doesn't hold a jackpot? Back to the story, minute 61. The doubling on the date and lettering, especially, in God we trust, and liberty. 2. The coin's weight, use a digital scale. Over 3 grams is your first green flag. Point 3. The sound test, copper pennies have a higher pitched ring than zinc ones when dropped gently. Combine all 3. You might not just be holding a lucky coin. You might be holding a life-changing one. Now here's the million-dollar question, literally, what should you do if you find a 1987 penny with no mint mark and those signs? First, don't sell it on eBay or Facebook Marketplace. You're not selling an old lamp. This is numismatic gold. Instead, get it professionally graded by organizations like PCGS or NGC. This adds instant credibility and value to your coin. Then, consult with a rare coin auction house, not just your local pawn shop. These coins are often sold through high-end auctions where collectors compete with each other, driving the price up. You see, coin collectors are like treasure hunters. When something this rare surfaces, it causes a frenzy, and here's where urgency comes in. More people are now learning about these coins, and as awareness spreads, more pennies are being pulled from circulation. The window to find these hidden gems is closing fast. That it's like the lottery, but the ticket is already in your house. Just imagine, how would your life change if you discovered your penny was worth close to $1 million? Would you pay off your mortgage? Take that dream vacation? Secure your family's future, or maybe you'd start a coin collection of your own, now that you know the incredible power of what a single penny can hold. And if you think the 1987 no mint mark penny is the only one out there like this, just wait until you hear what happened with the 1992 close AM penny or the 1943 bronze cent. Some of those coins have sold for over $1.5 million. But that's a story for another video. So before you forget, check your old coin jars. Open that shoebox in the closet. Flip through those dusty albums, because your path to wealth might not start with a job, or an investment portfolio, but with a forgotten penny that's been sitting in your home for decades. But here's the jaw-dropping truth. A 1997 Lincoln penny with a tiny D under the date just sold in the current market for $966,000. Yes, you heard that correctly, almost $1 million for a coin that cost just 1 cent to make. Now before you sprint to your coin jar, let me tell you something most collectors won't. It's not just luck. These coins are rare, yes, but there's a specific reason this particular penny is so valuable, and in this video, I'm going to walk you through that exact reason, how to spot it, what makes it so special, and how you could turn your own humble penny into a life-changing fortune. But here's a fair warning. Most people miss it, they overlook the signs, and by the time they realize what they had, it's already lost, or worse, spent. So if you're serious about changing your life, and possibly securing a future of financial freedom with one coin, stay with me till the very end, because by the time we're done, you'll never look at a penny the same way again. Quick question to keep you thinking. When was the last time you checked your change instead of tossing it on the counter? Let's get into it. Let's travel back to 1997. Bill Clinton was in the White House, Titanic ruled the box office, and no one thought a simple penny could change a life. But tucked quietly into circulation from the Denver Mint, something extraordinary happened. A batch of Lincoln cents with rare minting errors slipped past inspection. Now, normally, the 1997 D penny isn't rare. In fact, over 4 billion were minted. That's not a typo, billion, with a B. But here's where it gets interesting, and where value spikes like lightning. That a tiny number of these coins were struck with dramatic double dies, off-center errors, or high-grade finishes that survived circulation. Some remained untouched in rolls or forgotten in dresser drawers. The most valuable one, graded MS 69 red, near perfect condition, with a double die obverse, meaning Lincoln's image and the inscriptions have visible, duplicated details. Now pause for a second. How many people even know what a double die obverse is? That's like holding a diamond and thinking it's glass. These ultra-rare features are what drive auction houses to open with bids in the hundreds of thousands, eventually climbing to that stunning $966,000 price tag. Let me break that down. MS 69 red means the coin looks nearly flawless under 5x magnification. A double die means the coin die was struck twice in misalignment, creating a shadow effect. Combine that with historical scarcity, and you've got a collector's dream. If you've got a 1997 D penny in brilliant red condition, the kind that gleams under light, You may be holding a fortune, but before we rush off to auctions, let me ask you something that's not so funny, but might just save your fortune. Why do 98% of people unknowingly spend coins like these at gas stations and grocery stores? Because they never knew what they were looking at. And fear of missing out doesn't even begin to describe what that feels like when you realize what you had was gone. Now let's talk about what you can do right now. First, go through your old change. Look for pennies dated 1997 with a small D mint mark under the date. That D stands for Denver Mint. Next, look for signs of value, red color, shiny and bright, not brown or dull. No visible wear. Lincoln's hair, cheek, and jawline should be crisp. Errors or doubling, letters like Liberty or In God We Trust, appearing with a shadow effect, got something close. Don't guess, submit it for professional grading. Companies like PCGS or NGC can officially certify the condition and error type. That grading? That's your ticket into the elite coin market. Let me tell you what happened to a man from Texas. He had no idea his old penny roll from the 90s had value. But out of boredom one weekend, he opened it, and found the jackpot. He submitted a coin for grading, and it came back as MS-68 with doubling. It sold at auction for over $850,000. He paid his mortgage, bought a new car, and still had money left over for retirement. Now tell me, what would you do with a sudden $1 million? Take a trip around the world. Invest in real estate. Help your kids live debt-free. This isn't just about coins. It's about opportunity. It's about knowing when your moment arrives, and not letting it pass you by. Here's the cliffhanger: the market for rare pennies is shifting fast. Collectors are hunting aggressively. The next $1 million coin could be found tomorrow, and it might be in your collection, but here's the twist. Most people who find these coins never watch videos like this. They never learn the signs. They never get the chance to win, but you're not most people. So before you move on with your day, promise yourself one thing: check that coin jar. Because the next life-changing penny might already be in your hands, and if you want more videos breaking down these hidden treasures, coins that are literally changing lives, make sure to subscribe and stay notified, because the next episode, we're going deeper into coins so rare, their values make this $966,000 penny look small. Yes, smaller than a penny. Until then, stay sharp, stay curious, and never underestimate the power of pocket change. There's a coin in your change jar, or maybe tucked away in a forgotten drawer, that could be worth far more than you realize. At first glance, it seems like just another quarter. But take a closer look. If you see the date 1776 to 1976 and a shimmering silver color, with no mint mark, you may be holding one of the most overlooked treasures in American coinage history. These bicentennial quarters have sent shockwaves through the coin collecting world, especially those with a rare silver appearance and no mint mark. Collectors are racing to find them, paying hundreds, and in some cases, thousands, of dollars for the right specimen. But why? What makes this coin so desirable, and how can you know if you have one of the valuable ones before it disappears into circulation forever? Stay with me, because what you're about to learn could completely change how you see the spare change in your own home. Let's rewind to the year 1976, when the United States celebrated its 200th birthday. To honor this monumental occasion, the U.S. Mint released a special edition of the Washington Quarter, featuring a dual date, 1776 to 1976, and a brand new reverse design showcasing a colonial drummer boy and a victory torch surrounded by 13 stars. This bicentennial quarter quickly became one of the most iconic circulating coins in American history. But among the hundreds of millions struck, a small percentage have become legendary. Here's where it gets fascinating. Most of the bicentennial quarters were made from a clad composition, copper sandwiched between two layers of nickel. But a select few were minted in 40% silver, primarily for collector sets. These were typically produced at the San Francisco Mint and carry the S mint mark. However, over time, a mystery emerged. Collectors began discovering 1776, 1976 quarters with a silver-like appearance but with no mint mark, indicating they were struck in Philadelphia. This shouldn't exist. Philadelphia only struck clad quarters. Or so we thought. That what's even more intriguing is the copper tint that sometimes appears on these quarters, an unusual blend of silver sheen and copper edge that gives the coin a unique patina. This happens when the outer layers wear unevenly or due to environmental exposure that affects the metallic surface. But when that same coin retains its silver tone without the copper core bleeding through, and lacks a mint mark, it raises serious questions. Was it an experimental strike? A planchet mix-up? Or a rare minting anomaly that slipped past quality control? Whatever the cause, collectors have taken notice. Recent sales show dramatic spikes in value. One example of a 1776 to 1976 no-mint mark quarter with a silver-toned surface and minimal wear sold at auction for over $800. Another circulated example with sharp details and luster fetched $540 on an online numismatic marketplace. And coins graded by professional services like PCGS or NGC can demand even higher premiums, especially if they exhibit full drum lines on the reverse or minimal contact marks. Why is the market so aggressive right now? Because time is running out. Every day, these quarters are getting lost in circulation, spent unknowingly, or damaged beyond collectible condition. Fewer high-quality examples are turning up, making well-preserved specimens even more desirable. And as more collectors become aware of this anomaly, demand is only accelerating. So how can you identify one? First, check the date, 1776 to 1976. Next, flip the coin over and look for a mint mark above the R in quarter dollar. If there's no mint mark, it was minted in Philadelphia. Then look closely at the color. A silver-toned appearance, especially with smooth edges and little to no visible copper core, is a potential indicator of rarity. If the coin feels heavier or rings with a higher pitched tone when tapped, it could be silver or partially silver. But the only way to be certain is to weigh it precisely. Silver bicentennial quarters weigh about 5.75 grams, compared to 5.67 grams for standard clad versions, and get it authenticated by a professional grading service. Once you have a candidate, store it carefully. Avoid cleaning it, as even light polishing can destroy thousands of dollars in value. Use acid-free holders or capsules to preserve the patina and prevent further exposure. And if you're serious about collecting, consider submitting the coin for grading, especially if it shows little wear and has that unmistakable silver shimmer. The 1776 to 1976 bicentennial quarter with no mint mark and a silver-toned finish is no longer just a commemorative piece. It has become a symbol of historical significance, mystery, and unexpected value. As the numismatic community uncovers more about these anomalies, their value is climbing rapidly. And unlike most modern coins, this quarter has the trifecta of collectability, a unique backstory, limited high-quality specimens, and rising demand among serious buyers. That if you find one, don't dismiss it as pocket change. You may be holding a piece of American history with the potential to fund a vacation, pay down debt, or become the centerpiece of your collection. But act fast. As awareness spreads, the chances of finding one in the wild are vanishing. So, the next time you hear that unmistakable jingle of quarters in your car console or kitchen drawer, take a moment. That forgotten coin might just be your silver-toned ticket into numismatic legend. And if you want to know about other coins like this, coins hiding in plain sight with thousands of dollars in hidden value, subscribe, because the next discovery could be sitting in your pocket right now. Could the humble quarter in your pocket be hiding a fortune? What if I told you that a simple 1982 quarter with a Philadelphia mint mark, especially one that shines with a striking silver color, could be worth hundreds, even thousands of dollars right now? This is not just another coin, it's a silent sleeper in the world of rare American currency. Collectors are scrambling to get their hands on it, and the market is heating up fast. But here's the catch, only a few know what to look for. And even fewer know why these silver-shaded 1982 quarters are commanding such high prices today. If you've ever held on to your old change or thought about starting a coin collection, this story might just change your life. Stay with me. The Washington Quarter, first introduced in 1932 to commemorate George Washington's 200th birthday, has seen numerous design and composition changes over the decades. But something unexpected happened in 1982, a year that, on the surface, seemed routine for quarter production. That year, the U.S. Mint struck millions of quarters. However, due to a nationwide cost-cutting effort, the Mint did not produce uncirculated mint sets in 1982 or 1983. That small decision had a massive ripple effect in the numismatic world. It meant that collectors couldn't obtain pristine examples from the mint itself, making high-quality 1982 quarters, especially those that were actually circulated, surprisingly rare in today's market. But there's more to the story. In 1982, all circulating quarters were struck in a copper-nickel clad composition. However, a handful of these coins developed an unusual silver-toned color, setting them apart from the typical copper-hued edges collectors are used to seeing. These silver-shaded 1982 quarters from the Philadelphia Mint, identified by the P Mint mark, appear to mimic the look of silver coins, and their distinctive appearance has fueled rumors, speculation, and intense demand. So what exactly causes this unusual silver color? While the 1982 quarters were struck with a copper-nickel clad over a copper core, some coins show a silver-like surface tone due to unique environmental exposure, toning processes, or rare minting anomalies. In rare cases, planchet errors or incomplete bonding of the clad layers can lead to a coin with a silver-washed or muted metallic finish that stands out dramatically from the rest. These aren't your everyday pocket change. These are potential numismatic treasures hiding in plain sight. Collectors have taken notice, and so has the market. Recent auction results show that high-grade 1982 P quarters with a silver-toned appearance can fetch anywhere from $250 to over $1,200 depending on condition, eye appeal, and certification status. A perfectly preserved, uncirculated example with a strong strike and attractive silver toning can drive bidding wars among serious collectors. Some of these coins have even broken the $1,000 mark at major auction houses like Heritage Auctions and Stack's Bowers. So how do you know if your 1982 quarter is one of the valuable ones? Start by checking the mint mark. A clear P on the obverse means it was struck in Philadelphia, a key detail. Then, examine the edge. While most clad quarters show the familiar copper stripe, valuable silver shade examples often appear muted or entirely silver-colored along the edge. Look for coins with strong luster, smooth fields, and minimal wear. Using a 10x jeweler's loupe or professional magnifier can help spot die characteristics and strike quality. For serious collectors, submitting the coin to PCGS or NGC for grading is crucial. A certified grade of MS65 or higher, especially with unique toning, can exponentially increase its value. Preservation is critical. Store the coin in a non-PVC plastic flip or an airtight capsule. Avoid touching the surface with bare fingers, as oils and moisture can tarnish the metal and lower its grade. Keep it away from extreme temperature changes or humidity, which can degrade the surface over time. As inflation rises and traditional investments fluctuate, rare coins like the 1982 P silver-shaded quarter are proving to be more than just collectibles, they're powerful stores of value. The combination of limited high-quality examples, the mysterious silver appearance, and the lost mint set year makes this coin a perfect storm of rarity and demand. And with more collectors entering the market every day, the window to find these coins at affordable prices is rapidly closing. So, the next time you sort through your spare change, don't overlook the 1982 quarter with a P mint mark and a silver sheen. It may not look like much at first glance. But under the right light, and in the right hands, it could be the kind of treasure that changes everything. Is there one hiding in your collection? Or could it be lying quietly in a forgotten drawer, waiting to be discovered? Only time will tell, but by then, it might be too late. What if I told you that a simple 1987 quarter dollar, the kind that's probably sitting unnoticed in your change jar, could actually be worth hundreds, possibly even more, depending on one rare condition? And no, we're not talking about error coins or misprints. This is something subtler, something hiding in plain sight. A certain shade. A silver-colored shine. The kind of anomaly that sends serious collectors scrambling and inflates prices beyond belief. If you've ever thought a 1987 D quarter was just another coin in your pocket, you're about to discover the truth that collectors are trying to keep quiet. Because the moment the general public catches on, these coins may vanish from circulation forever. Let's rewind to the origins of the quarter dollar. First introduced in 1796, the quarter has always carried a unique place in American currency. But by the time we reached 1987, the U.S. Mint had already made a critical shift. Traditional silver content had long been phased out. Since 1965, all standard quarters were struck using a copper-nickel clad composition, a copper core sandwiched between two layers of nickel. No silver. No precious metals. Just ordinary, utilitarian coinage meant for everyday transactions. But here's where the story of the 1987 D quarter gets fascinating. While most were minted with a standard gray copper appearance, a very small subset, especially those coming from Denver with a D mint mark, display an unusually silver-colored surface. These aren't coins that have been cleaned or altered. The silver hue is often a result of unique minting conditions or highly preserved surfaces that never entered circulation. In some cases, it could even be linked to experimental planchets, unusual striking pressure, or early dye states that gave the coin a much brighter, lustrous appearance. Collectors call it the silver shade phenomenon, and it has sparked intense debate and speculation. Why did only a handful of these coins take on this rare appearance? Were they struck from special dyes? Did they accidentally receive different metal layering? While we don't yet have a confirmed answer from the U.S. Mint, one thing is certain: these coins are exceedingly rare, and the numismatic market has taken notice. Now, let's talk about value. A regular 1987 D quarter in circulated condition is worth just 25 cents. But the silver-colored specimens, particularly those in high mint state grades like MS 65 and above, are commanding astonishing premiums. Recently, examples of these brilliant silver shade quarters have sold for over $100, with some pushing past $300 depending on condition and surface brilliance. In one verified case, a silver tone 1987 D quarter graded MS 66 by PCGS was listed for $450, and it didn't last long on the market. Why? Because seasoned collectors know that finding one in uncirculated condition, with full luster and that unique silver tint, is next to impossible. Most have been lost in circulation, scratched, dulled, or simply never preserved. And as awareness grows, the few that remain are vanishing into private collections, driving prices even higher. This isn't just a passing trend. The coin market, particularly for high-quality and unusual clad coins from the 1980s, has been heating up for years. We're seeing modern-era quarters, once dismissed as worthless, now becoming key targets for investment-grade portfolios. The 1987 D silver shade quarter is at the center of that shift. That if you're a serious collector, or even just someone hoping to turn pocket change into real profit, here's what you need to know. First, examine every 1987 D quarter carefully under natural light. You're looking for a bright, almost proof-like silver surface that stands out from the usual gray tone. Check the edge. Is the copper core still visible? Many of these rare coins show little to no copper banding, adding to their mystique. Use magnification to inspect the surfaces. A true silver shade quarter will often have clean fields, minimal contact marks, and sharp detail around Washington's profile. If you find one that looks unusually bright or silver-toned, don't clean it, ever. Instead, store it in an airtight flip or capsule, and consider sending it to a reputable grading service. A professional designation could increase its value exponentially, and here's the truth every collector must hear: the 1987 D silver shade quarter is no longer just a curiosity, it's an asset. As more collectors recognize its rarity and start to hoard them, the remaining population in circulation is shrinking by the day. These coins are quietly gaining momentum as sleeper investments, and early buyers will likely see the strongest returns. So, the next time you're handed change, don't look away. Look closer. That shiny quarter could be your next great discovery. And for those who act now, before the mainstream catches on, this might just be the moment that changes your collection forever, because once the silver shade secret is out, the hunt will never be the same. 1990 quarter dollar sitting quietly in your change jar right now that could be worth hundreds, maybe even more, and you'd never know just by looking at it. Collectors across the country are scrambling to secure this particular coin, especially those with a mysterious silver-like appearance. But here's the twist, this quarter was never meant to look like silver. So why are some of them showing up with that rare, gleaming surface? And more importantly, why are they fetching such high prices on the market? Stay with me, because once you understand what's happening with these 1990 D-mint quarters, you'll never look at pocket change the same way again. The Washington quarter has long been a staple of American currency. First introduced in 1932 to honor George Washington's 200th birthday, this iconic coin became more than just a medium of exchange, it became a collector's obsession. The design, created by John Flanagan, stood the test of time, carrying both patriotic symbolism and a practical role in everyday commerce. But in 1990, something unusual happened at the Denver Mint. While the coin's official composition remained the standard copper-nickel clad, a copper core sandwiched between nickel layers, collectors began to notice that some 1990 quarters, particularly those from the Denver Mint marked with a D, carried an unusual luster. They shimmered in a way that almost mimicked silver. To the untrained eye, these coins looked like ordinary quarters. But to a seasoned numismatist, that silver shade raised one question: why? Now let's talk about this striking appearance. Some of these 1990 D quarters have a tone that makes them look silver, but they weren't struck on silver planchets. Instead, over time, the coin's surface begins to take on a lighter, cooler tone due to how the nickel coating reacts to oxygen and environmental elements. In some cases, however, it's more than just oxidation. Certain planchets may have been overpolished, or experienced a striking anomaly that gives them a cleaner, silver-like appearance. These silver shade quarters are not common. They aren't errors in the traditional sense, but they are certainly anomalies, and that's where the value lies. Rarity isn't always about mintage numbers. It's about demand versus availability. And right now, these coins, especially those that still retain their bright, silver appearance with minimal wear, are catching fire in the collector's market. The price tags are starting to reflect that demand. Recently, a 1990 D quarter in a high mint state with a silver-like hue sold for over $250 in a private collector's deal. Another specimen graded MS-66, with nearly flawless luster and that distinct silvery tone, was auctioned for $475. And here's the kicker, these numbers are rising. Every month, as more collectors learn about this niche variation, the competition grows fiercer. So how can you tell if you have one of these valuable 1990 D silver shade quarters? First, examine the coin under strong, natural light. If it stands out from your other clad quarters, if it has a cool, bright surface that doesn't match the duller copper nickel of others, it's worth a closer look. Check the edges. Most clad quarters will show a distinct copper core when viewed from the side. But in these rare silver tone examples, the edge appears muted or even fully silver, which adds to the intrigue. Don't clean it. That's the golden rule. Cleaning a coin destroys its value. Instead, handle it by the edges with cotton gloves and store it in a non-PVC flip or capsule. If it looks promising, have it graded by a reputable third-party grading service like PCGS or NGC. A high grade can multiply its value exponentially. And here's the truth that many collectors overlook: this is more than just a coin. It's an investment. These 1990 D silver shade quarters are a growing trend in the numismatic world. Their rarity, visual uniqueness, and rising market interest make them prime candidates for long-term appreciation. As more of these coins are discovered and sold, their value won't decrease, it will stabilize and likely increase, especially for coins in superior condition. In the world of coin collecting, not every treasure announces itself with a trumpet. Sometimes, it hides in plain sight, in the glint of a forgotten quarter at the bottom of a drawer. The 1990 D quarter with that elusive silver shade is one of those treasures. It defies expectations, breaks the mold of what we think a quarter should look like, and proves that even modern coins can hold extraordinary value. So the next time you're sorting through your change or flipping through a roll of quarters, pause when something looks just a little too bright, because that glimmer might not just be nickel. It might be your next big find, and trust me, collectors aren't waiting around. They're hunting. They're buying. They're investing. The only question left is, will you be the one to find the next silver-shaded 1990 D quarter before it's gone forever? Stay sharp, stay curious, and keep collecting. 1993 could be worth hundreds, possibly even thousands of dollars. Right now, in homes across America, people are unknowingly holding onto what appears to be an ordinary coin. But collectors in the know are racing to secure this rare find, especially those minted in Denver, marked with a small D, and found in an unusual silver-colored finish. These aren't your average pocket change. They're anomalies, and they're turning heads in the numismatic world for one powerful reason: they weren't supposed to look like this. Could you be one of the lucky few to have one in your collection? Or are these coins disappearing into private vaults, never to be seen again? The truth behind the 1993 D silver shade quarter is far more compelling than you think, and its value is climbing faster than most collectors can keep up with. Let's take a step back. The quarter dollar, first minted in 1796, has long been a staple of American currency. But the Washington quarter design, introduced in 1932 to commemorate George Washington's 200th birthday, became the enduring symbol we know today. For decades, it was struck primarily in 90% silver, until 1965, when rising silver prices forced the U.S. Mint to switch to a clad composition of copper and nickel. By 1993, all quarters were supposed to be copper-nickel clad. But collectors began noticing something strange. Certain 1993 D quarters had an unusual silver-colored tone, far brighter than the typical clad coins. Upon closer inspection, these coins lacked the copper-colored edge, leading many to believe they had stumbled upon silver planchets, or perhaps an error during production. But here's where it gets even more intriguing. Some of these silver-shaded quarters were tested and confirmed to be standard clad composition, yet their surfaces showed a distinct silvery hue, likely the result of a chemical reaction, improper planchet annealing, or even environmental exposure under unusual conditions. Still, others believe a handful of actual silver planchets, meant for commemorative or proof coins, were mistakenly used at the Denver Mint. The exact cause remains a topic of heated debate among experts. But one thing is certain: these coins are rare, and they're sparking bidding wars. Collectors are willing to pay a premium for this unique appearance, especially when paired with sharp detail, full rims, and a mint state grade. One uncirculated example with a strong silver tone recently sold for over $400. Another, preserved in near-perfect condition with brilliant luster, went for $725 at auction. These values aren't flukes, they reflect a growing demand in the market for oddities that tell a deeper story. The copper shade, or rather the lack of it, is what sets these coins apart. A normal 1993 D quarter shows a copper stripe along the edge. But the most valuable ones appear entirely silver from edge to edge, triggering instant curiosity. Whether this look was due to a rare strike-through error, an unintentional blank planchet, or post-mint environmental exposure, the silver finish transforms these into specimens worthy of museum-quality attention. So how do you know if you've got the real deal? It starts with inspection. Look at the edge. Does it have a copper core visible, or is it completely silver-toned? Weigh the coin. Standard clad quarters should weigh around 5.67 grams. Anything heavier or lighter could point to a wrong planchet. Under magnification, examine the details of the mint mark and the fields around Washington's bust. Coins with clean, sharp details and no signs of polishing or artificial cleaning are the most sought after. If you believe you found one, don't clean it. Don't store it in open air. Use a non-PVC flip or an archival quality capsule to prevent damage. Preservation is everything. The right coin in the right condition can change hands for thousands of dollars, and the market demand is only increasing as these silver-toned anomalies become harder to find. This is not just another quarter. It's a window into U.S. Mint history, a mystery wrapped in silver, and a rare opportunity for collectors who move quickly. With each passing year, these coins are becoming harder to uncover, and those already certified are vanishing into private collections. If you're lucky enough to spot one in your change, your junk drawer, or even an old roll from the bank, don't dismiss it. You might be looking at one of the most lucrative coin finds of your life. Collectors aged 30 to 70, especially those with a sharp eye and a passion for U.S. mint errors, are finding that coins like the 1993 D Silver Shade Quarter offer not only historical intrigue, but real financial reward. In a market that prizes rarity, authenticity, and backstory, this coin checks every box. So the next time you handle a quarter, pause. Look closely. That ordinary coin in your hand might be far from ordinary. It could be the silver-hued key to a rare numismatic treasure. Will you recognize it before it disappears? Keep searching, keep learning, and most importantly, never underestimate the value of what you hold. Because sometimes, history hides in the smallest places, like the glint of silver where copper should be. Have you ever held a coin that looked ordinary, until it wasn't? What if I told you there's a 1995 Washington quarter, minted in Philadelphia, that appears in a striking silver shade, and it's turning heads across the numismatic world? This isn't just a case of shine or polish. It's a copper-nickel coin that somehow looks silver, mysteriously, uniquely, and in some cases, worth far more than 25 cents. Collectors are scrambling to find these specific quarters, and some have sold for jaw-dropping prices. But why? What makes the 1995 P quarter in this unusual color tone so valuable today? Stay with me, because what you're about to learn might change the way you look at pocket change forever. The 1995 Washington quarter belongs to a long and proud lineage. First introduced in 1932 to honor the 200th birthday of George Washington, this iconic coin has been a staple in American pockets for decades. By 1995, the quarter was still made of copper-nickel clad, a core of pure copper sandwiched between two layers of 75% copper and 25% nickel. But something unusual began to appear in certain Philadelphia minted quarters from that year. These weren't your typical gray-toned coins dulled by circulation. No, these had a distinct silver luster. A shine so bright and uniform that it mimicked the look of 90% silver coins last seen in circulation before 1965. First, many assumed these were plated fakes or damaged specimens. But as more surfaced and experts began examining them under magnification, the pattern became undeniable. These weren't random flukes. Something real was happening during the minting process, and the silver-shaded 1995 P quarter was born. What causes this silver appearance? Most experts believe it's the result of an improperly mixed alloy or an error in the mint's annealing process. When copper-nickel planchets are overheated, the layers can blend in a way that gives the surface a bright, silver-like appearance. These are not intentional silver coins, but rather rare anomalies, mint errors that escaped unnoticed, quietly entering circulation. And that's precisely what makes them so alluring. They're the kind of mistake that slips through only once in a while, and when it does, the value skyrockets. Collectors are not just fascinated, they're fiercely competitive about owning one. On eBay and coin auction sites, verified silver-tone 1995 P quarters in uncirculated condition have fetched prices ranging from $85 to over $400 depending on clarity, tone, and mint luster. And when a specimen shows proof-like surfaces or sharp details with a flawless silver sheen, private collectors are willing to pay even more. The demand is fueled by scarcity. Most 1995 quarters show typical wear and color, but the few that carry this unusual silver finish? They're in a league of their own. So how do you know if the quarter in your drawer could be worth hundreds? Start by checking the mint mark. Look for the P on the obverse, just to the right of Washington's ponytail. Then, examine the surface under natural light. Does the coin have an even, silver-white luster? Is it lacking the reddish tint normally seen along the edges of clad coins? If it appears completely silver, with no copper layer visible on the rim, it might be one of these rare errors. A digital scale can help too. If it weighs close to 5.67 grams but looks silver, that's a strong clue. Preservation is key. If you believe you have a silver-tone 1995 P quarter, do not clean it. Use cotton gloves to handle it and store it in a non-PVC plastic coin flip or an airtight capsule. Getting the coin authenticated and graded by PCGS or NGC can dramatically increase its value, especially if it comes back with a high mint state or error designation. This coin is more than a curiosity, it's an investment-grade anomaly. And as collectors age and newer generations enter the hobby, demand for rare and visually unique coins is only growing. Scarcity and story combine to create value, and the Silvertone 1995 P quarter has both in abundance. The 1995 P quarter dollar in silver shade condition isn't just a fluke, it's a treasure hiding in plain sight. In a sea of ordinary coins, it stands out as a symbol of rarity, a beacon for sharp-eyed collectors who know exactly what to look for. Its origin may lie in a minting mistake, but its future lies in the hands of collectors who understand its potential. So before you spend that next quarter, take a second look. You might just be holding a silver-hued slice of numismatic history, a coin that didn't just escape detection, but now commands admiration and real money in today's market. The next great discovery could be sitting in your change jar right now. Are you ready to find it? Because if you don't, someone else will.